Murphy's car looked fantastic, didn't it, in the drive? Looked really, really good.
Certainly looked strong over the curbs, didn't it, and the end of the back straight. That's a good drive from Stephen Richards in the FTR Ford. And must be some strange thing happening with the Glenmobile, because he's a long way back, so maybe got tangled up in something early in the race.
Stephen Richards started 15th, currently 8th, and to reiterate that point, Stephen will not be in the FTR colours come season 2002. We will definitely see him in a new team. We're closing down this second race, just 2 laps to go.
Oh,
Engel is slowed.
Oh, look at that. That's obviously terminal, whatever that is.
That is not good.
That impacts this championship scenario, I should imagine. So do some number crunching, get the abacus out and see what that's all about.
Have a look at his screen.
Speaking of screens, we've just been theorising on why Lowndes perhaps has backed off from his attack of Murphy. The wiper's not working on the Gibson Motorsport car. Whether he's chosen to switch it off, I don't imagine he would have turned it off.
That's inside for me.
It's Engel's car. But if we just have a look at Lowndes' car before this race is over, we might get a clearer picture of why he's...
Listen.
Not sure what's going on there. Stephen Ellery, he's in 10th.
Need to hear more of it, but yeah, there's something weird going on.
Ellery, very stable run, hasn't it?
Yeah, consistent run from this team, certainly toward the second half of the championship. And they've been regular top 10 finishes, and at this level of competition, there's nothing to sneeze at. Good, strong performance from Ellery. Now, this is the in-car and Lowndes' car, and you can see quite clearly he's not using the windscreen wiper. Now, whether that's been deliberate, well, it's out to 4.3 seconds, the gap between himself and Murph, so that's stabilised. 2 laps remaining. And I'd imagine Neil Crompton didn't want the wiper on in these conditions, wouldn't you?
Generally speaking, sometimes you don't if you start to just get these real bad smears across the screen, but I suspect it's more likely a failure than a choice.
So that could be the story. 3.7 seconds.
No,
so
it's failed. It's just stopped there up in the middle of the cycle, hasn't it, for some reason?
He's actually closed the gap to Murphy in that little time there. It was out to 4.4. Now it's under 4. So Murphy probably hitting a bit of traffic.
Now, where is Russell Engel? We'll try and update you on that situation, because that's making life tough for him in the championship runners-up position battle. Jason Bright is currently in 12th position. He'll pick up 42 points for that.
Whoops.
That's Paul Wheel.
That's in a funny
spot. On the front.
No,
at the end of the main straight.
Well, yeah, but it's not where you turn in. It's he's actually must have clouded the wall before he got there. He must have had to lose before he got to the corner.
I've seen that plenty of times at Sandown, cars actually getting up on an aquaplane and just taking off.
That's very weird.
Before the cars even reach the braking zone. Well, plenty of damage to the Falcon. Let's have a look at this on the replay.
I reckon he... Oh, did he... now, did someone...
Russell's in the middle. Yeah, Russell's in the middle of that.
Well, there's damage on the back of it, so Russell hit the back of him.
Oh!
See the damage on the back of it?
Yeah.
So maybe Russell got into the back of him because he couldn't see it.
Couldn't see where he's going, yeah. There's lots.
Oh, it's a bit late. That sounds like a pretty good theory to me, Neil.
Well, it's got damage on the back of it.
There's no other reason why you'd spin.
And, well, unless it was from early in the race, but let's see if... Well, see, there's nothing much showing on the front of Russell's car, so...
Not quite sure.
Don't know.
I'll tell you what that damage was on the rear of the car. He was caught in that concertina.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The
traffic jam, yeah.
Stage of the race.
Last lap, Todd Kelly is on the way home. Second career victory, less than a lap away.
12 seconds the gap, so he got the real jump on the field there after that stop. He was the first of the cars in the queue to make his compulsory stop, and it paid off handsomely for Kelly. But not only that, the setup on this car obviously superior to anything out there at the moment. He really has been able to blow the field to bits. He's controlled it from very early on.
And a Kmart 1-2 coming up. Greg Murphy holding on to second. Lowndes is still in third, some 4 seconds behind Greg Murphy. But the last couple of corners here at Sandown, a dry race 1, a very, very wet race 2. And look at that. It's a you legend. Todd Kelly brings it home. Victory for the Victorian youngster. Great win for Todd Kelly. His teammate Greg Murphy is some 12 seconds behind. And there is the Kmart team, Rob Crawford and his gang.
This finish for third could be pretty close, because I believe Scaife's been catching Lowndes. There he is. No, Lowndes will still hang on to third place. Scaife really made a massive amount of ground on the Gibson car in the last 2 laps, but not close enough to take third place from Lowndes.
Marcus Ambrose in the mist somewhere there will bring the Pertec Ford home in 5th. Radicic in 6th. As they come home. Eventful race for Mark Scaife. He had quite a few off-track excursions.
Said his fastest lap. Actually, no, he's actually undercut that by another half a second to 1:21.05. So Scaife continually brought the lap record down over the course of those final laps. A 1:21.05, the fastest lap of the race going to Scaife. So he was really standing on it in those final laps, but not fast enough to catch Craig Lowndes at the end.
Race winner, car 15, the youngster. His nickname used to be Toddler. Getting a bit old for that these days, but a very, very sensible, terrific drive for victory in race 2 here at the V8 Ultimate. A Kmart 1-2 and Lowndes, the final step on the podium. We'll have more for you from Sandown after this.
We are back at Sandown and blazing their way through the wet conditions for the team's first 1-2. Todd Kelly and Greg Murphy, an excellent performance. Todd, your second V8 Supercar race win. Well done.
Thanks. Certainly a tough race with those sort of conditions. There was a few spots where my eyes were hanging out of my head trying to keep it on the road, but yeah, it was a good race.
Battle for second position in the championship. Greg Murphy, looking good for you now.
Well, I was a bit confused. I think the boys were winding me up because they said, I said, where do I finish at the end? I assumed Todd was first because I could see him ahead. And they said, oh, no, you're third. And I thought, you should have told me Bridie was for position. But I think they were just having a bit of a joke. So that's fantastic. Awesome.
Given that this team came together fairly late in the piece this year, just before the start of the championship, you guys are finishing with a rush. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get, 15 guys to work like a well-oiled machine. And they've certainly come on in the second half of the year. And we're looking forward to next year.
Well done, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks, Rusty.
Well, Craig Lowndes, sensational in the dry yesterday, 14th to 2nd, and not so bad in the wet either, even though you had no windscreen wiper.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it went off, sort of halfway between the race, but the cars work exceptionally well. The only thing I couldn't do was see the apex, so I just couldn't use the brakes to its full potential. And really, when I caught another competitor, it just blew my sort of lap speed out the window because I just couldn't see.
So it did look as bad. It was as bad as it did look through the cameras.
Oh, for sure. I can tell you, sitting in the car was no different.
Now, there's something about this place. I think for the last 2 years you've been on pole position. You've got a good winning history here. You like it, don't you?
I love the circuit, even with the wiper going off. The back straight wasn't a problem because you could sort of wander all over it without a problem, with no problem. The front straight, you just had to stay in the tram tracks, got out of them, and you aquaplaned. So big drama down front straight. Back straight was quite nice, and just sort of driving a bit of braille there, just sort of touching every curb. Luckily, they didn't black flag me.
Sensational driving. Well done, Craig.
Thanks, Greg.
With only one race remaining in this extended season, this is the championship point situation. Murphy may be able to move up to third, and it's still looking pretty good for Russell Ingall to hang on to that second spot. Marcus Ambrose could climb as high as 8th after the end of today. Now, a common question amongst the V8 Supercar field and spectators is, why is the Holden Racing team so good? We sent Greg Russ to their Melbourne headquarters to find out why.
How do you do it? Make me feel like I do. How do you do it? It's better than I ever knew. No.
They're the Ferrari Formula One team of V8 Supercar Racing, an organisation whose on-track success has helped fuel a passion for Holden cars. Like the Tifosi, its fans are emotional, and with good reason. 5 of the past 6 V8 Supercar titles have been won by a driver from the Holden Racing team. And at Pukekohe, Mark Scaife clinched the 2001 championship, making it the 4th consecutive for HRT. It caps off a remarkable year, which included winning the Holy Grail, Bathurst.
You do think about the reward, you do think about winning the race, and at the end of Bathurst, I was as keen to win that race for the guys as I was for myself, because I knew how important it was for them and for us. And when you look over the balcony and you see their faces, or you hear on the radio, the tone of their voice and the way that they respond to winning, that's it's an incredible feeling. It's one of the great things about motorsport.
That winning feeling didn't happen overnight. Rob Starr has been a part of the HRT family for 10 years, sticking with the factory squad as it progressed from humble beginnings to the slick outfit it is today. It's his calm voice you hear talking to Mark Scaife during the heat of competition, the voice of experience. A decade ago, he joined as a boilermaker. Now Rob is chief engineer on Car 1.
How rewarding is that for you?
Oh, extremely rewarding, and the hard part now is to keep doing it. When you are the benchmark, there's only one place you can go, and it's down. But that's always the next challenge, is to keep doing it.
if that's where our bar is, and that's where the operation that's immediately under us is, we can't afford to let that move up to that. We've just got to keep moving that bar forward, and that's really probably the thing that spurs us on to, you know, try a bit harder every year.
HRT's equipment is state-of-the-art. This season they formed an alliance with John Hart Technologies, which has enabled them to build even more components in-house. But talk to Crennan or team manager Jeff Grech and they'll tell you the secret weapon is their staff. The pair share the same philosophy: employ the right people, then build a bloody great big fence around them.
It almost becomes that in a crucial time during a race or a decision at the workshop, there's an unearthly silence because they almost root each other rather than actually have to talk to each other about it.
Along the way, Grech has undertaken a special research and development program, giving young, talented drivers a go, a calculated gamble that's paid off.
In 1995, the average age of the guys who finished in the top 10 in the championship was 41. This year the average age is 29, and there's one bloke responsible for that, and that's Jeff Grech. Jeff Grech got rid of the old farts and took a risk with young talent, and that transformation of our sport, you know, into being a younger sport, to me is very much to Jeff's credit.
Such is their will to win, HRT is refusing to treat Sandown as a dead rubber. The championship success and the Bathurst win will probably sink in with the help of a few beers on Sunday night. But make no mistake, this impressive operation is already focused on 2002.
You just can't rest on your laurels and think, well, we've won that championship. I mean, in saying that, this year's championship and this year's Bathurst is as good as any of the others we've won, if not better. But as long as you don't, as long as you don't spend too much time thinking about it and think about next race and next year.
Not only the Holden Racing team, but all the V8 Supercar teams look to the Formula Ford category for the future stars. And earlier today here at Sandown, they had their final round of the year.